He is one of the most fantastic person I could meet. Today, I'm super delighted to receive Wim Hof, better known as the Iceman. He holds as many as 15 World Guinness Record for the longest duration in icy water. He has created a global movement of ice baths, explaining how cold water can help you at various levels, from your body pain to mental health issues. And I was so excited to meet him and had zillions of questions, from his own routine to the impact on TGHH condition, for example, but also how he answers to the challenges that are made to his techniques. Whether you've done cold baths or if you know nothing about it, you will learn a great deal about the body pain, mental health issues, and how cold can help you. And by the way, if you are interested, on June the 9th, he will be doing an amazing experience in the Neurological in Paris. And it will be a full day of conferences, obviously ice bath experience. So it will be, I think, amazing, and I'll try to be there. So if you're ready, I cannot wait to offer you this conversation with Wim Hof. Allez Vlan, c'est parti. So hi everyone, hi Wim, how you doing?
Yeah, very good. I've been doing a lot of interviews. Yeah, okay. I've been doing a lot of interviews last 2 days, and I'm into the promotional tour here and from the Netherlands here now in Paris. And it's all very exciting. It's nice to get into the French, the mentality, which is different of, say, the Americans and the English and the Germans. So I'm here now, full force, try to do my best, give my best, to make a good introduction into the French territory.
All right. How did you come up with your technique? What happened? How did you create it?
I'm a person like anybody, of course. I was in a soul search. Who am I? What am I in the depth? Not the way the society is making us believe what we need to be and to be schooled in, but who am I in the depth? So I went into esoteric disciplines. I went into philosophies, doctrines, traditions, and all. And then I found, you can read a whole lot of books, but the real wisdom actually is inside. And the cold was able to open up. You like say vlon, like slamming the door open. That, to me, that moment was when I, for the first time, went into the cold. It's when it opened the depth of my physiology. And I was doing that. I'm becoming conscious of that deep connection inside. And that is 47 years ago, when I was 17. I'm 65 now, and I've never not done the cold immersions in every winter I was alive.
Oh, wow. That's very intense. What caused this search for the soul? I mean, I know you had a terrible experience, personal experience. But what you're saying is that you started before that experience. So
yes.
It's not really, but I guess it also added up to your search for your soul somehow. Did it, or?
Yes. No, I'm one of the twins. I'm an identical twin. When I was born, nobody suspected back then. There was no echo. There was no, I was hidden. I was too far in. They never suspected a second child to come. So I was almost born too late.
Wow.
I almost suffocated inside the womb of my mother. And my mother was praying. She said, before she pushed me out, she said, "Oh God, let this child live. I will make him a missionary." That is the way I was born. Without knowing, my mother had tattooed a prayer on me. And that makes all the difference. I was one of the twins, but I was always looking for something else, something deeper. And when I was 17, after reading already a lot, at the age of 12, I was already into psychology, into Hinduism, Buddhism, esoteric disciplines, at the age of 12. So when I was 17, I already read a lot of books. I practiced a lot of yoga, karate, kung fu, all kinds of esoteric sports and disciplines. But then I found the cold. And that day when I found the cold, I really tapped, this is it. Without thinking about it, I felt it. And from there, I started and I kept on going every day in the cold. Because the cold is merciless, but righteous. It shows you who you are and what you are. And that is exactly what I wanted to find. And from there, slowly but surely, because when you go into the cold first time, you learn to breathe deep. I cultivated breathing techniques that made me able to change the biochemistry inside and become stronger, to activate the adrenal axis. And thus, when you learn to do that, you become stronger inside, and then you are able to stay longer in the cold. And then at a certain moment, I began to separate the breathing, and I did that at home, like in this situation, on a bed, on the sofa. And those breathing experiences, sessions, they really led me into a deep physiological understanding and awareness. I saw all the chakras, all the lights, all what has been written. I saw that. I experienced it. And of course, when something is so profound and you get control over it, you keep on doing it. And this is what I've been doing like for 25 years, from being 17 years. And then I was 42, 43 is when I started to meet with the television.
How did your friends and family reacted when you started doing that at 17?
At 17, everybody was thinking that I was crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy and an idiot. Who goes into cold water? Nobody. That is, why are you doing that? That is not good. This man must be a little bit crazy. And I can tell you, I'm very crazy. I'm crazy about life and my wife. That's what it is. And now I found this way, and I did many world records. But first, I had a woman, my wife of my 4 children, and she died of a suicide. Yes. And at that moment, the cold really helped me. Because when you go into the cold, you don't think. You have to survive. You don't think, and that's exactly what you want when you suffer from emotional agony, from depression. When you go into the cold and you have to survive. And that opened my tranquility, like stillness of the mind. That is where I was not into emotional agony. That is the way I began to heal. I had a moment of stillness, tranquility of my mind. And there, of course, I kept on doing that much more consciously from the moment my wife took her own life. Because I had to be there for my 4 children.
Totally, yeah.
So the cold does not only make your mind quiet and you learn to survive, it makes you strong from the inside, and you get all the energy. Because you train your cardiovascular system, it becomes a lot better. millions of little muscles in the cardiovascular system, which is 100,000 kilometers inside each and every one of us, is millions of little muscles. They become much more stimulated, much more stronger, by which the blood flow goes a lot better through the body, and it feeds into the cells and creates much more energy. So I became a father alone of 4 children, little money, but I had all the energy I needed to create a nest warmth, to be there for my children and for their emotions. I knew how to become still in myself, and I had all the energy to serve my children.
The breathing technique you're mentioning, did you or were you inspired by all the techniques, the breathing technique that you find in Tibet, or how did you find this breathing technique? It was really by yourself?
I read all what can be read about all the techniques, but nothing helped me therein. The real techniques, they come from experience, because every person is different. And what works with one person doesn't work necessarily with another person. And the way it has been written in the books is very esoteric. It's like secrecy. It's like distant. It doesn't make sense to me. But the cold taught me. When you go into the cold, the first thing you do is breathe deep. It shows you, hey, if you breathe deep and tranquil, you get control over the very aggressive impact of the cold, and you get more power. Why? Because when you breathe deep, the adrenal axis will be activated, by which you get more power inside that is able to withstand the cold impact. It neutralizes it. That is called adaptation. And that adaptation makes your interior stronger. It looks like I'm doing nothing when I'm, say, for 1 hour in the icy water, but the body inside is working like hell. It needs to become warm. The inner fire needs to be activated fully, because an hour into the icy water, that is real. Otherwise, it kills you. So, but what I found, that through deep breathing, tranquil, in control, you're able to regulate the inner processes becoming stronger from the inside. That is the adrenal axis, and that is the thermoregulation, energy, pure energy.
So you can stay an hour in icy water. I mean, usually what I've heard is like most people, they try to do 3 minutes, which is already hard. I mean, for me, I never done it. So I'm very curious of doing it actually. But already 3 minutes entering the water and then staying 3 minutes seems to me very long, but you can stay an hour.
Yes, I did, and longer. But that is going to the extremes. I got 26 world records in the cold and cold endurance. But that is not necessary to get the benefits. If you stay 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes at the most, then you will get all the benefits. Because when body goes in, then it is going to adapt. Adaptation means that the body inside, the interior mechanisms, they are activated and they become strong, and at a certain moment you are in peace. Because the body's power from the inside is then as strong as the incoming power. And then when that happens, then your body is activated, and then your immune system is stronger, your lymphatic system is stronger, the cardiovascular system, all the systems are stronger. And that's amazing. That is the benefit afterwards. when these all these systems are on, then the physiology is a lot stronger, and you learn to deal with stress, because the stress mechanisms, called stress, are then on. And because you are doing it, you learn to connect with the stress mechanisms consciously. And that makes you able to face the stress during the day so much better.
There were a lot of studies around the technique. What is the connection with the vagus nerve? Because I guess there is a connection with it, right?
Yes. The vagus nerve controls almost all the organs. So when you go into cold water, the vagus nerves will cause all the organs to protect themselves. That is a protective mechanism will take place. So when you go into the cold water, the adaptation or the making stronger of the interior mechanisms, the organs, will be done by the vagus nerve. And because you are doing it, you stay calm while the stress. You could also, that's not the way you get control. You get control by deep breathing and stay with the breath. You feel the stress, but after a minute, it's okay. That means that at that moment you are consciously there. And while you're consciously there, the vagus nerve is doing the work. And it connects, because you are consciously there, it connects with your will. And in that way, you learn to control the vagus nerve through the exercising of the cold. And then during the day, the vagus nerve is able to make us calm if we have control over that. The vagus nerve is also, if we control it, we control inflammation. And inflammation is the cause and effect of every disease. But because we never go into stressful situations, because we always want to go easy, then the vagus nerve is like any other nerve or muscle. If you don't train it, then it becomes weak. Then it looks like we have no control. But the control is really very able to be there. And the vagus nerve is amazing. They thought of this is autonomic, outside of our will, but we can bring it inside our willful control.
Just a very basic thing, but you were saying you should not so lose control, basically, which basically what I do when I enter cold water usually. How do you find the peace to actually stay calm and breathe normally when you enter such a cold water?
Follow the breath. Keep the focus on the breath. Then very soon, in 1 minute, the body will adapt. Just an hour ago, I had a person here who is doing TikTok videos and Facebook and Instagram. Eglantine, her name is. A beautiful woman, young woman, but suffering from panic attacks. And she doesn't know how to deal with that. And I could see that. I could see that it was psychosomatic, that it came in her body. So her body was not able to stay in the stress of the cold. At first she had a lot of pain, unbearable, she could not, and etc. I say, stay with the breath. Use the power of your mind to focus on the breath. So the body is capable of doing its work. But her body was weakened. I could see that. And therefore, the stress made her panic. But I said, stay there. Stay with your breath. She came back in, and then she stayed for 3 minutes. And very soon she was able to laugh again while being in the icy water. This is the way in 3 minutes, being that way, she learned to have control, neurologically to connect a neural pathway with her will together with the stress mechanism to beat panic and to have peace. And she showed control and she felt very victorious. And this is what we do not know in modern society, how to deal with panic, with anxiety, with stress. We don't know. But if we don't go to the stress, then how can we learn about the stress? The stress will come anyway. So we better go to the stress, otherwise the stress will come to us. So if you do ice bathing, and you do it gradually, normally not directly into icy water, first a cold shower, 15 seconds. Then a second day, 30 seconds, 45 seconds, third day, and so forth, up till 2 minutes. And then you are ready. Then your condition of your cardiovascular system and your stress mechanisms are awakened. And they are very able to deal with stress, only we never exercised it. And now through going gradually into the cold, then in 10 days, you will be able to go 2-3 minutes into the cold or to endure the stress of the cold, by which you know you have control over the stress mechanisms inside the brain to deal much better in daily life with emotional stress, physical stress, mental stress, spiritual stress, any stress. It's amazing how that works. So gradual cold exposure is an excellent exercise to learn to have control over stress in daily life.
So the benefits basically are the control on your stress. It has a benefit on your vascular system, I guess in your on your heart, any heart disease, but also from what I understand of what you said, if I remember correctly, there is also benefits for, basically your full body. It's not only emotional; it's also
absolutely.
For your health, right?
If we talk about the cardiovascular system, it's 100,000 kilometers and more inside every body of us. Those are veins, arteries, and capillaries. They are like that, like 2.5 times the world round. It's all inside, so it must be everywhere. And there is the endothelium, the millions of little muscles. So when we go into the cold, we train that. What is killer number one cause in the modern world? That is cardiovascular related diseases.
And stress, I guess.
Yes, and that is caused by stress. Stress causes sclerosis. It causes acidic state of being, a wrong pH level, and accumulating through stress. We get the wrong biochemistry, and that is like a plaque on the veins and the arteries, and that causes the arteriosclerosis. So if we go into the cold, then the muscles, the endothelium and the blood flow goes a lot better through the system, and then the plaque will not exist. And this is the way we can tackle this big problem, the cause of mortality, number one, of our society. That's why the university should investigate so much more into this to help us understand that we actually naturally are able, through the right exercise, to tackle mortality through arteriosclerosis and have a great... so much energy comes therefrom. When the blood flow goes better through our system, we get a lot of energy. And that is what the cold does.
So when you're tired or when you have an injury, the cold will help also with this injury, right?
Absolutely. Inflammation will contract the blood flow and the arteries and the veins. When there is inflammation, it aggrandizes. It swells up the whole system. And when you when you go into the cold, all the capillaries, which are everywhere, they contract. And that's where the swelling becomes smaller. And suddenly the acidic state caused by the swelling goes away.
And actually what I find interesting is the vision I have of the society today is that we are trying to avoid as much as possible any pain, any stress. That's what we do with digital. Actually, when you look at how people use social media, they stay at home behind the screens. They don't want to be, because when you go in the outside world or dating apps, you are kind of certain who you're going to meet. There's no it's not hazardous, we cut as much as possible any possible stress somehow. And that's probably also why we need more to train our body and especially our vagus nerves with the stress of the cold water.
Absolutely. If we don't go to the stress, then the stress will inevitably come to us. It will knock on our door inside ourselves, and we will experience emotional stress, physical stress, mental stress, any stress. There's many stress. There's stress through bacteria, stress through viruses, because if we don't exercise the stress mechanisms inside the body, then the immune system will become weaker. Mm-hmm. And when it is weaker, then bacteria and virus, they have the chance to multiply because the immune system is not alert. If we go and do, and this is very simple, this is a good message for every person who is listening. This is good for you. If you can do this on your own, in a cold shower, take a cold shower. First a warm. It's not about suffering and take on all stress all day. No, it's a very short period of time. You do this is to harness yourself and to make the vagus nerve at work, at your will. And you will be able to confront the people in the street because you feel so much more energy. So that creates much more confidence in yourself because you feel you are on top of it all.
But I had a question around the shower thing because cold shower, the water is at 17 degrees, maybe 16 degrees. It's not very cold. I mean, it is cold when you experience it, but compared to icy water, which is 1 degree basically, or
zero.
Zero.
Yes.
It's a huge, for me, it is a huge difference. What you're saying is that for the vagus nerve in the system, 17 degrees is fine, or is there anything to find more into icy water?
To start with, I say cold showers as they come at home. And then if we are able to go for 2 minutes into a cold shower, then we are ready to take on icy water. Like also in France here, in the winter, the water outside is cold. So if you go outside and swim, say 1 minute in the winter time, 1 minute, 1.5 minutes, that's an absolute great exercise. I always say, make of the winter a summer. Feel like the summer. Me in shorts all winter long. In the Netherlands.
Oh, really?
All winter. I have no long pants. I have long pants, but I never wear them.
I was also wondering, for people listening, Because what you want to have is stressing your system. But if you do, it's a question. If you do a cold shower every day, then you're not stressing your system anymore. Or are you? For me, for example, I do the cold shower thing 3 times a week because I'm going to the swimming pool and then I'm always finishing with a cold shower. But it's only 3 times a week. And I was wondering, is there anything to win if I do it 7 times a week, like every day? Or 3 times a week is fine? Or
Yes, I say always follow your feeling. If you find stress in your life, too much of whatever, then say you have to exercise the stress mechanisms through exposure, short exposure, by doing it. Because, otherwise you get long-term stress. Long-term stress comes because your stress mechanisms don't work as good as they should. So I always say, follow your feeling. The cold is an absolute it's merciless, but righteous. It shows you who you are and what you are. So we are built to be able to deal with our daily stress perfectly. If that is not the question, then increase the exercising.
what do you think of, because I've seen also some studies that were challenging your point of view and the experience. And I was wondering, what do you answer to them, or what do you want to answer to them? Those people who don't believe or say this is not, strong enough as
scientific validated science. To those, I say, I challenge the universities and the scientific world, and they should actually have been waken up since 2014, wherein we showed in a comparative study to be able to influence deeply into the autonomic nervous system and the innate immune system. And real investigative spirits should wake up and see that we actually have entered into a new understanding of what we as humans are capable of. We are able to battle inflammation. This is what we have shown there through injections of E. coli bacteria. Is that not serious enough? When are you guys going to wake up as a scientific community, as scientists, and look for more validation through the research centers you are called universities, and you call yourself scientists, and we have the evidence? Why do I have to show everything? You guys need to show me how science works and how investigative you guys are in the science. So I already showed it. I showed that the scientific paradigm, the understanding of what we can do, I challenged it and I showed it beyond speculation in a comparative study that we are capable to influence deeply into the autonomic nervous system, considered to be impossible by humans, and not me, a whole group of people, and the innate immune system. And this has huge consequences for humanity because we suffer from inflammation. And inflammation is the cause and effect of every disease. And now we showed in a natural way through breathing techniques and cold exposure, we can suppress inflammation. I challenge every scientist to do more studies. I think it is scandalous that the scientific community has not waken up. They are so established in their books, while we as humans are absolutely more capable to beat inflammation inside of us. So That's my answer to those people who think this is not validated by big studies. Hey, I'm not the university. I just showed we are capable of doing that. I showed this a full group of people. How much more evidence do you need to get on with this and investigate as you are a scientist?
And now there are thousands, maybe probably millions of people doing it. So we could do a study on people that are actually doing cold baths.
Oh, yes. It's like 100 million. There's so many people, and it's taken off. It has exploded. And now the scientific community should come in. Why are these people all doing that?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't work? Because it is not validated? They do it because they feel it works. And it's up to the scientists now to see why is it that it works? And what works? How are the cytokines? How are the inflammatory markers? What is cold water doing with our physiology that the people feel so good about it that it keeps on spreading everywhere in the world? It's really everywhere.
Yeah. I was also wondering, would it work to just go outside when it's cold? Because, I mean, what's the matter with the cold water compared to the cold weather, basically?
It doesn't matter the way you do it, as long as you expose your body to cold. Thermogenesis happens. And thermogenesis is when the cardiovascular system is adapting to the cold. Where they did a study on people with diabetes. And they exposed those people 8 hours a day in temperature of 16 degrees at home. With the temperature just going 5 degrees lower than normally, we put the thermostat like 21, 22 degrees. Now to 16 degrees. What they saw in 10 days, exposing the people in t-shirts and shorts, working on the computer. This is a scientific research experiment. It showed that the symptoms of diabetes reversed in 10 days. 16 degrees. That means if we go outside and do not dress up completely and block the cold completely, then we expose ourselves and the body starts to work. The deeper physiology starts to work. What happens with diabetes, we are so weakened through our comfort zone behavior. A lot of diabetes happens right now in the world. It's like an epidemic. And people don't know that the deeper physiology needs to work to cure the diabetes. Diabetes is a weakened state, a condition of the body, and where the insulin is deregulated. So then you need to, the cold is very capable to make the activation of the insulin production right again. And it doesn't take extreme cold. Just a little bit is already enough to trigger the physiology to cure. It's amazing. So as long as you feel that your body is at work when you go outside, like now it's like 10 degrees, 11 degrees. Man, if you go like this outside, the body is going to work from the deep. And then you see that your body is very capable of doing that. You don't need to go to the extreme. You don't need to go into icy water, but it is good. A short period of going into icy water, like a couple of minutes, will ignite and activate all the systems inside.
But when you go outside being like undressed, let's say, are you never sick? Because you could take a cold, basically.
Actually, if you go to the cold, then the cold will not come to you. it is as much, because once the body starts to work against to warm up from the inside, then the cold is not able to get in. It only gets in if the body is in a weakened state, when it does not work. And when we dress up, then the body is not going to work inside, because it's dressed up, it's closed. And then when a little bit cold comes in, then the body is weak in its condition, and then it has its bacteria and virus are able to multiply.
And I was wondering, is there
amazing? So simple, eh?
I'm sure it is. I was wondering if I could do it. Actually, I was afraid of doing it, but at the same time, I was like, oh, maybe we could do it. I was wondering about the condition. Can anybody do it? Because, for example, my heart is super slow. When I'm sleeping, it's like 35, so it's very, very slow.
Really slow.
It's very slow. And I was wondering, is there any condition, like, for example, for me, where being in the icy water can be dangerous, or any...
Actually, it's going to beat faster. The vagus nerve you called, that is the one who tranquilizes. I think you need more control over your vagus nerve. And to accelerate a little, just a little.
When I'm sleeping, it's not when I'm awake, right?
Okay, yeah, okay.
No. When I'm awake, I'm at like around 50. So
yeah, okay, like me,
yeah.
50 around, which is very good. Like a sports heart. It's probably a bigger heart. So if you take cold showers, nothing, it's all right. You can do that easy, Greg. Just take the cold showers and follow your feeling. Right. If you feel right about it, then you can a little 15 seconds more the other day. And in that way, increment a little bit more. And then no problem with the icy water. After 10 days, no problem.
But is there any condition for people not to do it?
Yes, of course there is. When you have, when you're epileptic, when you, extreme cold, anything that is not able to take on the shock, the difference, or going into the icy water, it needs to be gradual. So for women who are pregnant, it is very good to go into cold showers, because the blood flow will run better, and the blood is feeding into the fetus, which is very good, because then more oxygen gets into the blood flow, which is in the end feeding the fetus. So it's very good, but slow down. No shocking experience for those epileptic people with a heart condition and pregnant women. Take it easy. We are built to be able to go into icy water. We can do that all, but we have alienated sometimes from going into the cold so much that we have a condition somewhere. But if the blood flow goes better by going gradually, then epilepsy and heart conditions and all, it will not happen. Because in the end, it is because of our comfort zone behavior that we get all this inflammation inside our bodies. So to those who have conditions, I say, gradually, take it easy, follow your feeling. Easy does it. In the cold shower, take a little bit of cold shower. And then when you feel you can do that, that is called adaptation. And that means that the condition of your body is becoming better. And then you follow that way. You can feel that. And then from there, you increment. You go a little bit more, little bit more, little bit more.
How do you feel that millions of people are doing it now? Because when you were 17, so people were looking at you as a crazy person. And then I guess when your wife passed away, they saw that it was helping you very much to deal with your emotions, even though it was helping you with dealing with emotions before. But I guess when you're experiencing such a loss, it was helping you very much.
Yes.
But how do you feel now that millions of people are doing it?
I feel, of course, I feel recognition. I never lost my faith. Even though, if like decennia long, people think you're crazy, I'm a human. It has impact.
Sure.
And psychologically, psychosomatically. But the cold, my practice, I always felt so good about it, I kept on doing it. So actually, I learned to deal with that stress long before. But that there is now recognition, and it's an honor. I'm full of gratitude because of that. And I see that this is now a movement. It's unstoppable all over the world. And now I say, I just sparked it. But it's a fire now. I'm not the fire. I just sparked it. So I feel gratitude about it. I feel respect, but it's still a long way to go. Because in the beginning, as we talked, Greg, about some people still think, this is not really validated by science. It is. If you want bigger studies, make it happen. Don't be at the sideline saying there is little validation. No, there is scientific validation. If you want more, make the studies happening because this works. And I'm a man on the mission. I feel gratitude, I feel respect, but it is not ready yet. And that's why I do podcasts, I do interviews, I do TV shows, I do scientific research. But this helps me, what we do right now. Just to tell to the people, I'm humble, but I'm also very determined in myself. I am going to change the world. Because if I see that I can, I will rise and stand up and show the people we can.
I had a very technical questions. I see people doing sauna and cold bath. Is that something that people should do, or you should do, like, because then your heartbeat is super high with the sauna, and then you go in the cold, and you've seen that also in Sweden. They do that a lot, like
Yes.
sauna and then going on the ice, on the snow. Is that something that is good for the body to even like stress it even more with the cold?
It's passive. It's a passive heat that you cool down, a passive heat. First, the heat comes in. It's not you doing it.
No.
It's the heat. And then you get a heat cooled down, which is good for your body. It's hormetic stress. But if you go and learn to go yourself directly into the cold, that means that before you go into the cold, you learn to mentalize. You learn to make your body at your command stronger from the inside to be ready to go in. That's where the power of the mind comes in. And you don't get that if you go from in a sauna, because it's passive heat. You are not making your body strong. It's hot, and now you can go into the cold because you don't feel it, because there is heat.
Right.
But if you are just normal body temperature, then really you have to ignite and activate the adrenal axis inside, making yourself stronger, and then you go in. And when you learn that is part of the power of our mind to make ourselves stronger for stressful situations in daily life. So there is the difference.
So maybe we should do the opposite. Go in the icy water first and then in the sauna if you're cold.
Yes, but I'm also going into the sauna, and then I like to go into the cold. But the real exercise is in not going into the sauna, exercise your mind, then go into the cold, and then you will reap a whole lot more benefits.
I understand. I had a friend of mine who asked me to ask you if it could help with HDHD condition.
Yes, ADHD is a neurological condition. That is the nervous system. The nervous system is out of regulation. It's an override. It's a sympathetic nervous system. It's part of the autonomic nervous system. So we have shown to go into the autonomic nervous system and to learn to have control willfully over the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system, by which we learn to control the overriding system and bring peace. And that is ADHD. So yes, but once again, because there is a condition, do it gradually. Easy does it, but then you're going to take it easy and find your ease.
We also talk a lot about the dopamine right now because of social networks, and I guess we all have a very unbalanced dopamine somehow. Can it help with the dopamine system? Do you know that? Or
going into the cold raises the dopamine as much as cocaine. So cocaine works 1 hour. I took it once. I know, and I didn't need. I saw I don't need it because it feels like you have done like a sports activity or something. You're on, and I don't need that because I do sport. I go into the cold. Now the cold is able to generate as much dopamine as cocaine does. Only it endures 3 times more than cocaine. So dopamine, guys, if you want to get into dopamine, get into the cold.
Okay, very clear. What is your daily routine now? You said you practice sport. What is it that you do?
Right now, the fitness room downstairs.
I was talking at home, like
Yes.
normally, not in a hotel.
At home, I do my sports in the morning. I wake up before my wife and my child and all, and I have a daily routine. I go outside, go into the ice bath. I go into the sauna afterwards, and in between I do outside barefoot in the grass. I do my exercising and flexibility exercise,
right.
Grande K, to flex, all these flexibility exercising I do. I'm 65. I'm flexible as a ballerina.
Oh wow!
And that is because if you go into the cold, the cardiovascular system runs better, and it's like oil. It's like oil on the bones and the tendons. And then you become very flexible. I can do splits now. It's easy does it.
Oh, wow. I should, because I'm not flexible.
I did these things today.
Wow.
I was like, 5-10 minutes in the icy water with the television. And I was talking to them, peaceful. And then afterwards I did splits.
Oh, wow.
Just showing that my body doesn't get stiff. My cardiovascular system just works better. And that is my daily routine, and makes me feel zen. Then there is no thinking, there's no ruminating, there's no worries, it's just being. It's amazing.
Is that something you're afraid of?
I always say I'm not afraid to die, I'm afraid not to live. So I make sure every day I'm alive.
I like that. What is it that you want to explore next?
I'm a man on a mission. I have a family. I want to make sure that my family is happy, strong, and healthy. And I make sure of that every day. I'm always full of energy. Then my mission is there. And right now I'm here also with a friend, and we just made a music album.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I play guitar, I sing, I do drums. And together with him, he is a flamenco guitarist and composer. And we made beautiful music. We can send you the links if you like.
I'd love to.
For that, you need to talk to Tahir. He is Uyghur from Central Asia. And music is... now we are into a record label with Universal Records. It's going to be big. We're going to make huge festivals and all. So what is my next thing? I keep on challenging life. I keep on creating. I love life. The art of living is to feel every day a stronger power than your thinking is able to bring you down.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So nice. The podcast is named Vlan. And this is the last question. I'd like to know what do you want to open or slam the door to?
I want to open and absolutely slam the door open or break open. Vlon, ouvre le port avec beaucoup de force. To show the scientific community they have to study the human capabilities to cure themselves of stress and depression.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Merci d'avoir écouté Vlan. Si vous avez aimé l'émission, n'hésitez pas à mettre des étoiles sur vos plateformes de podcast préférées. Vous pouvez aussi partager l'épisode sur vos réseaux sociaux, Instagram Stories, Facebook, LinkedIn, où vous voulez. Je suis Grégory Pouy. Vous pouvez me retrouver sur l'intégralité des plateformes sous le nom Greg from Paris. Si vous avez des idées pour des invités, si vous avez des commentaires, n'hésitez surtout pas à m'envoyer un message. Allez, merci et à bientôt.